Okay. Okay. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending on when you're coming across this live stream. My name is Austin, and I'm using this opportunity to welcome you to this platform that I have created to help in the forthcoming general election by way of political education. A platform that is going to give voice to the voiceless, ensure that your voices are heard, even if at the end of the day not much action is taken by them, but at least we know how things go in our country. It's a platform that is going to be dedicated to political education, which essentially is to help people understand how power, how good governance, how decision making work in societies, and help them develop the ability to critically analyze every single position that is presented to them by the political actors, because truth must be told. We can no longer shy away from politics because our lives are daily impacted by the decisions of our political leaders. So this platform, among every other thing, as we move on, is going to empower us. It's going to empower us, give us the analytical mind required for active participation. We should be able to participate meaningfully in our democracy. It's not just about voting. Most of us feel that our participation as citizens ends at the polling unit. Once the votes are cast and counted, winner declared, then we wait for the next 4 years. No, political education is going to expose us to our continuous role in government, which of course ensures good governance. We are going to vote, it's our civic responsibility. We are going to also hold our leaders accountable. We're going to hold them to account. Every single, every single campaign line, every single thing in their manifesto may have informed our decision to vote or not to vote. So when someone is elected into office, it's important we hold that person to account. Those things he or she says will be done if elected into power, we must consistently put these things before them and ensure that they are done. This platform is also going to help to create, um, awareness and help us recognize how policies of government shape issues like healthcare, education, and even the economy. Most Nigerians today are practically escaping from Nigeria to other countries. And the reason that is adduced for this is lack of opportunities in Nigeria, lack of good health care, lack of quality education. Everybody wants to secure the future of his or her children, so they are taking their kids abroad. All right. So we need to understand that the system you meet when you get to the West or America or wherever where things work, those systems were built by human beings like us who took a deliberate decision to get things working in their society. So we're not going to wish it into existence. We're not going to pray it into existence. We need to understand that our actions and inactions to a large extent determines how these things we crave for, how these things we run abroad to go and get can actually get to us without necessarily leaving the shores of this country. And the program, I believe, by the grace of God, if we have the powers to go through, it should be able to sharpen our ability to reason and question the authorities. Questioning authorities does not in any way amount to rebellion. No, questioning the authority ensures that our leaders are constantly thinking about us because they know through our questioning that, look, these guys are seriously scrutinizing everything that we do and they are going to ask questions. We should be able to distinguish between mere propaganda and facts. Of course, you can't wish propaganda away in the politics of developing countries like Nigeria. That propaganda will always be there, where people just come and say all manner of outlandish things. Now, when we come together and begin to educate ourselves, we'll be able to spot propaganda from fact. Whether the propaganda is coming from the ruling government or is coming from the opposition, we should be able to separate propaganda from fact. If decisions are taken based on the impact of lies or propagandas, of course, you know that the outcome is not going to be in the interest of the citizens. So there is need for us to ensure that every single decision we take will be evidence based, will be data driven, and we need as much as possible to start speaking to our strength, speaking more to our strength. You know, at times these our leaders play what is called the mind game. They play the mind game. They tell us that nothing is going to happen, even if, or people tell us that, oh, even if you vote, your vote is not going to count. They tell you that this person has already won the election, is settled. Those are mind games. If it is that settled, why would someone still be campaigning? If it's settled, you should just move on. It tells you that if you fall for that mind game, you make it easier for them to either rig the election or manipulate the electorates. So we must be able to see those things that unifies us and then talk more on those areas than having hours, days, weeks of debate on areas of differences. When we polarize the system, we leave ourselves open for our leaders to take advantage of us. Government policies, we all know, shape almost every aspect of our lives. Government policies in every country affect the lives of citizens. Imagine today that petrol in Nigeria is hitting almost 1,400. And for a fact, we all know that a certain war that is happening in Iran and the closure of the Strait of Hormuz is now affecting the supply of energy, power, crude to the global market. And you know the natural law of demand and supply, that when supply falls without commensurate fall in demand, you will likely see an upward adjustment in prices of goods and services. So war is happening in Iran, and then the ripple effect is throughout the globe. But if you have a government that has planned or that has very good plan or a better plan to insulate the economy from all these external factors, though the shock will still be felt, but it will not be as bad as we are currently feeling. So government policies, we need to pay attention to them. I see that in our country, Nigeria, unfortunately, we are more engrossed with social media banters. We are more interested in religious discussions, who is better, who is not better. We are just too fixated on frivolities that we don't look at the policies of the government. We don't take time to scrutinize these policies. Like I always say, the economy controls every other aspect of our life. If the economy is good, your prayer point will reduce. If the economy is good, insecurity will reduce, because there's an aspect of insecurity that is driven by just the quest for ownership of economic resources. If the economy is good, many Nigerians will not be leaving the shores of this country to seek greener pastures overseas. And if some of our compatriots should tell you what they go through before they're able to settle down in some of these countries, you will discover that it would have been cheaper to have the same system that we are running abroad to go and get, to have it in Nigeria, where people just live with dignity and they are able to, to get by. So Nigerians need to understand that what affects their lives more are the policies of the government, both at federal, state, and even local council areas. Whatever policy the government is pursuing to a large extent affects your life. So you need to take interest. You need to be concerned. Don't leave everything to God. These are man-made rules. These are man-made rules. Resources has been deposited in different proportion all over the globe by God. Harnessing the resources and utilization of these resources will no longer be in the hands of God. We need to understand that. How we explore these resources and how we put the resources into use can no longer be the concern of God. It is now human beings that have, first of all, created the technology, okay, to find the best uses of any material. Now, utilization and how the resources will then be distributed is not God's business. We need to understand that. It is the position of your government that will determine how much gets to each individual, how much of the resources gets to each individual. A government that is accountable is most likely going to have a trickle-down effect where every citizen putting in reasonable effort is able to get by. Now, some of the policies of the government that we must also focus on affects our health and well-being. Yes, you hear of life expectancy, you hear of maternal mortality rate, you hear of infant mortality rate, you hear of access to good quality health care. These are all outputs of healthcare policy of any given government. A government that pays so much attention to health and well-being, we implement policies that will improve access to healthcare services. We improve access to pharmaceutical products. We'll encourage people to take up health insurance. A government that is also not too keen about health and well-being of the people will not do these things, meaning that your health largely depends on your economic power. There are some health issues that may require just a little above what you are earning. It may kill you. Yes, it may kill you. You see why we need to pay attention. What is the health policy of Nigeria? What is the health policy of my state? What is the health policy of my local government? Are these policies the right policies that ensures that citizens get treatment without financial ruins? That you get treated in the hospitals, you get the best treatment, and you don't get to empty your bank account. You can also look at health and well-being, then you're looking at public health regulations. What is government's role in regulating public health? Yes, some people don't pay attention to this, but we need to start paying attention to this because it is these public health issues that leads to uh, um, breakout of diseases. We once had a pandemic, global lockdown everywhere, even life expectancy, the kind of environment you find yourself, what is the sanitation level? Are we investing so much in research? Are we bringing up new medicines that will help cure diseases as they manifest? It's government policies. My people, it's government policies that will do this. It's not prayer, it's government policies. If the government sets the right policies, you will find convergence of these services coming to actually help, improve our health and well-being. Many Nigerians in the last 3 years have traveled to United Kingdom, and one of the routes they used is education, going to school for their masters, some for PhD, some for BSc, and it's not cheap. It is not cheap. If you speak to those that have gone through this process, it is not cheap at all. So the UK government is funding their education from the school fees they get from Nigerians. Now, but one good thing about it is that you spend more, but you get quality in terms of education. So government needs to also bring up education policy that will help improve the quality of our schools, their curriculum, affordability of even higher education. I saw a video this morning of a school in somewhere in Benue, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, a school somewhere in Benue. Someone posted that video, and looking at that video, you could see clearly that there is no way effective instruction or teaching can actually go on in such environments, in such sandy classrooms. So that's what we're saying. First of all, what is the infrastructure that support our school system? Do we have the right infrastructure in place that can even encourage even someone that don't even want to go to school to say, okay, I will go to school. This place looks beautiful. The curriculum, what are we teaching? These are our policies of government. Are we still relying on curriculums that are no longer useful? You get to certain schools, maybe certain courses, you find them, still stressing students on issues that are no longer in alignment with current realities. We have now transported ourselves from the uh, just computer operating stage. The world has moved on to AI and probably even doing something higher. Then you find some schools in this country. Still stressing students with shorthand, how to write shorthand. That is what we are still doing. When in actual sense, the office setting doesn't even have the need for that shorthand. So we need to look at the curriculum. These are issues that we should bring out and impress it on our leaders to change. Today, meetings are held virtually. Today, we have recorders that can actually record and transcribe minutes of every meeting. If you are on Zoom or on Teams for virtual meeting, you are able to record the meeting. So whoever is taking notes can always go back, play it back, and get some of the highlights. But there are still schools in Nigeria that are still teaching shorthand. Of what use is that shorthand? So you end up stressing the students for like 2 semesters, teaching them what is not relevant to survive in the current business environment. So we need to look at our curriculum and see areas that we can tweak to make things better. Then affordability is another issue. I do not believe that a country that is in deficit, serious deficit of quality human capital should be relying on loans for students to go to school. No, government at this level must do more to support indigent students. It doesn't have to be loans. Our educational system still needs to be subsidized. Still needs to be subsidized because when you give free education or subsidized schooling, you expand opportunities. You expand opportunities. Even though we know that poor funding will eventually limit social mobility, but expand opportunities for people to go to school. You can give scholarships. I remember in our days, back in those days when we were in school, there was this thing called bursary. So you are entitled to bursary allowance. Depending on the state. Some states pay more, some states it depends. But all these were put together to help indigent students go through the school system. So when someone tells you that the certificate from an Oxford University is more marketable or sellable than qualifications or degree or certificates from a prestigious university in Nigeria, the question shouldn't be, oh, because Oxford is an advanced country. No, it is the quality of tuition you get in Oxford. It is the quality of the infrastructure that is available for students in Oxford. It is the availability of research programs and sponsorship. There are a lot of things. So, as citizens, we can fold our hands and just we can throw our hands in the air and say, well, Nigeria can never be like a UK. Nigeria can never be like America. Nigeria can never be like Germany. We can make that assertion, but we can also decide that, look, what is this thing that these people did that we are not doing, or we are not getting right? That's what we are looking at. So, as a build up to this 2027 election, it's not just enough to be fixated about a particular candidate or a particular. Let us understand what needs to be done in order for us to even commence the journey, because it's a journey. Start the journey of moving from point A that we all have agreed is not good and favorable to a point B. Now, government policy also affects the economy in so many ways. Affects the economy and employment. Now, some of us go to worship centers to go and pray for employment. You are praying amiss. Employment is a consequence of deliberate actions and decisions of government. It doesn't mean government will provide employment for you, but if they create enabling environment for SMEs to thrive, enabling environment for businesses to thrive, very friendly environment that can bring in foreign direct investments into the country, you will see that jobs will be chasing the citizens, not the citizens chasing jobs. So when we are talking about employment, of course, you know the impact of unemployment, vicious circle of poverty. So when we're talking about employment, if employment is ever important to us, we need to now look at the policies of government that would either help or kill off every entrepreneurial initiative. If we realize that the policies of the government will only stifle every business ideas and opportunities, then we will not be expecting employment in the system. So first of all, we look at, for example, we look at the tax policies of the government. The tax policies of the government will influence how much money you and I will be able to save from our earnings. We earn from our businesses, we earn from our salaries, but how much you are able to save at the end of the day is a function of the tax policies of the government. If the tax policies of the government allows you to save more, it simply means that in the future, those savings becomes your investment, and it is investment that will always propel production of goods and services. If there is no investment, you cannot have, okay, a system of production. And it is the system of production that creates employment, because demand for labor is derived. People only demand for your services because there are other important goods and services that you, as a laborer or as a supplier of labor, would be able to help them produce. So if there is very little production going on in the system, it also means that the demand for your services will be low. If there is very high production activities going on in the system, it then means that your services will be in high demand. So we need to know some of these things. What are the labor laws? What are the policies or the laws of government that protects laborers, people that work? We need to understand and pay attention. So as people are telling us, vote for me in 2027, these are some of the questions, these are some of the engagements that we should be having. Not banters, not tantrums, not people just talking. No, we need to engage, engage in a very smart way. The economic policies of the government is also very key. You saw the last major policy shift of subsidy removal, how it kind of created distortions in the system that we are yet to recover from. So these are policy issues that affect us that we need to pay attention to. There are so many things. Government, through their policies, can even affect access to housing, infrastructure, our environment. The sustainability of our environment depends on the policy the government is enacting. We have environmental policies, we have housing policies. Then, of course, the one both of us will always see people fight, go to court, rights and freedoms. Somebody that wants me to vote for him must guarantee that my rights and my freedom, as enshrined in the Constitution, will be respected. I can't vote for you today, and tomorrow you take my rights, you take my freedoms. So we must push for civil rights laws that will protect us from discrimination and ensure equality. Let your competence match the opportunities. Not let your tribe match opportunities. Not let your religion match your opportunities. No. It must always be let your competencies match the opportunities. Of course, Nigeria is going through this patch today because many people have come to understand or feel that there is no justice in this country, that the law is meant for the poor. But it is the policy of the government that will ensure justice for all, which of course is what affects our safety, fairness, and even the way we trust our institutions. Whether we choose to trust our institution, trust the police, trust the army, trust the DSS, trust whatever, everything depends on our justice system. If Mr. A does something wrong and he gets A, B, C penalties, if B does the same thing, B should also get A, 1, 2, 3 penalties. That way, you put everybody on the same pedestal. That look, if you do this, you also have a price to pay. So let us ask these leaders that will be putting themselves up for election, let us ask them this. You see, my biggest concern is that campaign in Nigeria is like fun fair. People just go there to dance. The candidates won't even have the time to say anything other than just throw jabs, personality attacks, talk about, okay, their past and their antecedents. But what they want to do and how they intend to do it, we don't ever get the opportunity to ask those questions. And even those that are kind of resilient, you want to ask those questions, you're going to be shouted down, you'll be seen as a rebel, or you're being disrespectful. But the truth of the matter is, good governance cannot run without good policies. So if somebody has not articulated the policies that will ensure some of the issues we've been talking now, all right, it's going to be very difficult. It's going to be very difficult to just wake up one morning and then see us moving in the right direction. And of course, you know, it's government policy on security and stability, defense and security policy. We all saw what has been happening. We are seeing, I understand in Benue, I have not actually had time to go through that news. They are still adopting people. Nigerians are now traded like commodities. You pick a full grown up man, a human being, take the person into an ungoverned space, the bush, and then you start negotiating that person's life. You start putting price on the person's life. In a country that has government, that should never happen. That should never happen. Considering the huge sums we vote out on security, both the one that will be given to the military, the one that will be given to the police, the one that will be given to other security agencies, as well as they call it security votes to governors. Every businessman understands that 1 naira spent must be accounted for. So why are we spending so much resources on security only for our people to be abducted, picked by the roadside, picked in the worship centers, picked even in their homes to become the bargaining chips? So we need to understand that all these things are made possible because the political leadership have not actually decided to take serious action against this. It was Abacha that said that any insecurity that lasts beyond 72 hours, the government is complicit. So you can see that government policies are just like, how would I explain it? Like the invisible architecture of a society. Yeah. So government policies are like the skeleton. They're like the skeleton, yes. for people that are in medicine, you know that it is the skeleton that carries every other thing. So if that skeleton is defective, there is no way the body can move. Why many people are not concerned about the policies is they are like invisible. But the society, the economy, everything is built around those policies. Because it's the policies that will set the rules that determines whether citizens will thrive, whether citizens will struggle, or whether citizens remain stagnated. The importance of good governance can never be overemphasized. If you want the kind of economy that you hear people talk about in the West, then you must embrace good governance. You must join every single debate on enthroning good governance. As long as you want good life, good governance is a prerequisite. It's the backbone of any stable, prosperous, and fair society. See, it's not just about having people in the office. It's not just about having people we like or people we want in the office. It is more about how those people we love that we've elected into these offices, how they utilize power, how they use the resources, and even the institutions of government to serve the people. So there is no way you can discuss anything on national life. Yeah, okay, I'm trying to read a comment. Okay, so somebody asked in the comment section, I think this is coming from YouTube. Yeah, sorry, Ben, I'm just seeing this now. All right, so this is a platform that I've just opened. I want it to run till the end of the election, where we can always come together. Okay, I will also be taking requests from people that want to come up and just give their own 2 cents. Let us embark on political education. Many wrong decisions that the electorates have made in the past, okay, are attributable to just misinformation, poor data analysis or management, decisions taken based on tribe, based on religion, based on affinity, based on certain primordial considerations that don't necessarily promote good governance. So it's like a two-edged sword. It's like self-inflicted injury. I want good life, but I don't want good governance. Then at the end of the day, we end up in worship centers, disturbing God all the time, blaming him for everything that is not right. So we need to emphasize good governance, because that is the only time we will be able to, bring in accountability and transparency in how we are being governed. That is the only time we'll be able to enthrone the rule of law, which ensures that law applies equally to everyone, protecting the rights and freedom of everybody. And of course, you will definitely see very rapid sign of efficient service delivery by the government. So our schools will then work, our hospitals will work, our roads will work, utility function properly, and our lives will improve. And with that, of course, economic growth is just given, social justice will come, and then citizens are able to participate in how they are being governed. The opposite of not enthroning good government. So that if you're planning to spend the rest of your life asking God for what He will never give you, what God will not give you, if you're planning to do that, that's fine. If we don't intentionally bring in good governance by holding our leaders to account, by ensuring that their policies are made very clear to us, and our decisions are based on whatever policies they intend to implement, what you have will be the opposite, which is bad governance. And it will continue to have devastating effects on us. Apart from the fact that it erodes trust, it weakens the institutions, and it will even create hardship in our daily life. It is bad governance that creates poverty and inequality. Know it today. It's not the devil, it's bad governance. If your resources are judiciously harnessed and distributed efficiently, you will not have galloping inequality in the system. There will always be poor people around, but you will know that this is as a result of your own decision, the judgment you've made. Because if you choose not to work, nobody's going to force you. Bad governance breeds corruption, where funds meant for development will always continue to be diverted. Instability in our economy will continue. Our healthcare system and educational system will continue to suffer. The best of us will continue to travel abroad to seek for greener pastures if we choose to sustain bad governance. Frustration will come, but like I said, frustration is not cured by how much we disturb God in prayer. Our frustration as a country will be cured by how much we realize that some of the issues we are battling with or contending with are just issues that can easily be resolved if we choose today to act based on information that is backed by evidence. All right, so I will try as much as possible to be coming live, right? And I would also want people to contribute. I'm sorry, Bedemo Fuka, I'm sorry, I'm just seeing your questions. So the Nigerian school system has really declined. I remember my university days studying statistics. Some topics require the use of computers, yet many lecturers don't even know how to use them. That's a fact, let alone applying statistical too. Thank you so very much. All right. Okay, so guys, I will still be live tomorrow. I would want you to participate at that drop comment section. Like, I'm streaming live on Facebook, I'm streaming live on Instagram, as well as YouTube at the same time. Let's make this a platform where we all come to learn. Thank you very much for today, and bye bye.